This week's episode of The Grid is sponsored by Impics. Shoot today, upload tonight, we ship tomorrow. On One Software, focused on photography. Peach Pit Press, publishers of technology books, ebooks, and videos for creative people. Epson, exceed your vision. Expo Imaging, rogue flash benders for speedlight enthusiasts. Intel, the power you need for hardcore creatives. Squarespace, everything you need to create an exceptional photography website. And B&H Photo, the professional source.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another live episode of The Grid. My name is Scott Kelby, and I'm joined by Brad Moore. And Brad is...
Here.
Brad is Brad. How you doing, Brad?
Doing all right.
So I know a lot of you already know who Brad is, but for those of you who don't, Brad is my full-time photo assistant, and he runs the studios here at Kelby Training, and just a cool guy.
I try.
And he's also a great concert photographer, and he just, he moderates the comments on the show here, but since he's not doing that...
I'm usually standing over there, but now I'm sitting here. So
it's gonna get crazy.
Yeah.
All right, I'm having a bad hair day, so I wore a hat. Want to see what it looks like? Nope. No, it's awful. Really bad. Really, really bad. Okay, so anyway, welcome everybody. We're having a great time. Where is Matt? Matt's in Norway.
He'll be back tomorrow, though.
He'll be back tomorrow because we don't let him go for very long. But he's in Norway. He sent me a couple of shots. He's getting some insane-o shots.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's getting some great stuff. Hey, we have so much to cover this show. I want to talk about a couple things real quick. First, tomorrow you're invited to a free webinar tomorrow night. It is a webinar to launch this brand new initiative that we have on Kelby Training called Beginners Start Here. And that's it. So it's tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, so New York time. You can join us live, and we're going to be have tons of giveaways. We're going to be giving away a Sony DSLR kit. But the other big thing is we have specials and all that kind of stuff. We have all kinds of giveaways too, like all bunch of giveaways. But see how the cursor's dancing around? That's the dancing cursor. So it's circling different things and all. You get all kinds of, we have some goodies for everybody watching. But we're going to be doing just a ton of photo tips. So come and join us tomorrow night. Thousands and thousands of people have already signed up for it. It's free. Where do they sign up for it? They go to kelbytraining.com/online/photography -4-beginners. Good Lord.
If they just go to kelbytraining.com right now, there's like a big
just go to
pop-up
kelbytraining.com
thing.
and click on the button. It'll take you right there. But anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be live, and we're sharing a bunch of cool stuff. But we want to tell you about this. It's not just a class. It is a whole curriculum for people brand new. So you know how somebody calls you up all the time, right? Everybody's got a friend that calls up and goes, how do you do this on your camera? How do I do that? I don't understand this. What's aperture priority?
This is for them.
Make sure that they watch tomorrow night for free. Okay, a couple other things because I want to get to the topic today. I'm announcing some new tour dates. I have 4 brand new tour dates for the tour that Brad and I are on right now. I'm going to be in July 29th. I'm going to be in Colorado Springs. I've never even been there. I can't wait.
You know who's there? Dave Black.
Dave Black's in Colorado Springs. All right, I'll be in San Antone on Friday, August 16th. In Indianapolis, home of the Colts, on Wednesday, August 21st. And in San Jose, I know the way there, on August 27th. So I hope you'll join me in one of those cities. We have a bunch more cities we're adding, but those are the 4 right now, but I'm going everywhere. Okay, prizes. We have great prizes today on our show. First prize. The update of my book, the Digital Photography Book, Volume 1. So I went back to the Digital Photography Book. It was written in 2006,
yes.
Right? And I went back and redid all of the photos, updated the book. It's not a rewrite of the book. It is a refresh and update, so it's like that. Anyway, it's got more pages. It's got more things.
And newer pictures.
And much... You know, when you look at pictures you took in 2006, you want to jump out the window. At least that's what I wanted to do. So anyway, but we have these. Someone's going to win. We'll give away one on the air, and then we'll give away some afterwards. Then we've got. I'm going to be giving away Light It, Shoot It, Retouch It, because one of the things that we're covering today has to do with this very book. We're going to give away a copy of this, and we're also going to give away a copy of the Rob Sylvan's Nikon D5200 from snapshots to great shots. If you don't have a Nikon D5200 or at least a 5100, I probably wouldn't
ask for
go in for this one. All right. Also, RC's on the road. RC's got like 4 more cities on his tour.
Yeah.
Go to kelbytraining.com and click on live seminars. He's going to
Nashville, Canada, and
Nashville, Canada, and other places like very, very soon.
Louisiana.
He's going to be all over Canada. So if you're in Canada and you love RC, and I know you do, and I know you live in Canada because that's the only people that watch this show, please make sure you go and check out RC. He's going to be in Toronto. He's going to be in Calgary. He's going to be in Vancouver, and maybe someplace else.
It's Louisiana. What's the New Orleans?
No,
New
he's
Orleans.
in Ottawa too. So,
yes.
All right. Now, coming up next, dun dun dun.
A topic we know all too well.
A topic we know all too well. It is photo shoots gone bad, but we're also going to talk about how to push through them. So, Brad and I are going to share some things that neither of us are very proud of. It's not. But also, can I read you one? A guy shared this one on Google+. Oh, by the way, for the first time, we're able to, through YouTube, we are broadcasting this live right now on Google+. So if you go to my Google+ page, it's embedded right there. We're broadcasting. But somebody already got in the spirit. His name is Michael Seneschal. What would you say that?
Seneschal?
Seneschal. Michael Seneschal wrote this story about one of his, and we want to hear your stories. And when you hear Michael's, you're going to be inspired. All right. So he says, my horror story was one of the first weddings I ever did. So be nice to me. Don't worry, because I guarantee I read yours. It's not nearly as bad as what's happened to us. Actually, this is pretty bad. I don't know. Maybe it is. The couple had their ceremony on a boat. Before the ceremony, I jumped on the boat and was kind of scoping things out, figuring out which angles I'd shoot from and stuff. Unbeknownst to me, due to weather, they started the ceremony 1 hour early, and in a flash, the wedding party and guests ran onto the boat and the ceremony started. I had put my camera down a minute ago, and now it was somewhere in the sea of people that just rushed aboard. My second camera body, back on the beach.
Of course.
Of course. All right. So I whispered to my second shooter, it's all on you. And he looked back at me, terrified and confused. I continued to look for my camera while the ceremony was in progress. So the ceremony is going. Yeah, this is way worse than ours. His ceremony's going, and he's looking for his camera. He finally found it resting on the ground. The only problem was, I guess the bride's grandmother was standing over it, and she was wearing a dress. So I thought to myself, do I rely on the second shooter, or do I reach between the grandmother's legs? Fraught with peril. He didn't write that. I put that in there. Fraught with peril. And grab the camera. Well, he reached in so fast, and he grabbed between the, he said, I reached so fast between the grandmother's legs, let me tell you. He said, learning experience, eh? I'm not embellishing this at all. He says, I wish I was. And he said, feel free to use it. I'm normally not this dumb. Okay, maybe a little. But anyway, thank you for sharing that story. It's you know, sometimes there's always a learning moment right there, you know. Now, I don't know what learning moment you could possibly have there. They moved the wedding up and didn't tell the photographer.
Yeah.
That's, you know, but you know what? They still would blame the photographer because that's what people do. All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, photo shoot's gone bad. Can I ask you guys a favor? If you're on Twitter right now, if you're on Facebook or anywhere else, if you would just send out a little tweet, hey, come watch Scott and Brad talk about photo shoots gone bad on the grid, and give them a link to this, and we'll see you in 2 minutes. Don't go, or a minute maybe. Don't go away.
However long the break is.
However long the break is.
Here at Kelby Training, we have hundreds of classes and thousands of lessons on all kinds of photography techniques, from beginners to advanced. But if you're just starting out, maybe unboxing your first DSLR, you may not have a clue where to begin. What if you had an opportunity to learn from world-class photography instructors exactly what you need to get started? From the very beginning, with help all along the way, Kelby Training now can give you just that. We're launching an innovative new tool for beginners called Beginners Start Here. It'll lay the foundation needed to understand your camera and walk you through how to capture beautiful images. And the best part is, all you have to do is tell us a little about yourself, such as your camera manufacturer, your DSLR model, and what you're interested in. And we'll design a custom curriculum to help you take your photography to the next level. It's the perfect way to learn at your own pace, on your own time. Plus, with a subscription, you get access to our online training wherever you are, so you can replay specific clips or even repeat the entire class if you'd like. We'll take you step by step, right through the process, so you can start taking good images in no time. And as you grow, we have a huge library of classes on all different kinds of photography techniques that can help you take your photography beyond the basics. So if you're just starting out and itching to turn that mode dial to something other than auto, then this is for you. And we're passionate about teaching you how, every step of the way. Start here at kelbytraining.com.
Blast off.
And we're back.
And we're back. Wow, that break went fast. Holy
always
cow.
do.
Hey, Scott Kelby here with Brad Moore. Thank you for joining us. And thanks to everybody that just put a little shout out for us there. We appreciate it very, very much. And I'd like to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Squarespace. So they are a online hosting company with the best looking templates basically anywhere. If you, I have my sports portfolio with them. So I'm working with I'm working with a photography portfolio consultant. And so we set up a separate site for me. So it's Squarespace.com. Is it Scott Kelby at Squarespace.com or is it Squarespace? Brad will figure it out. But anyway, it's where I put all my sports stuff. It's still a work in progress, but we're getting closer.
ScottKelby.squarespace.com.
ScottKelby.squarespace.com. But anyway, they have really great stuff, really great templates, super easy to use, and it links right into my SmugMug account, right?
It does.
They
Can I
work
tell you
together.
a quick fun fact?
Please tell me a
That
quick
I found
fun
out
fact.
just before we started the show.
Just before we started the show, Brad has a fun fact.
Scott has this consultant that he's working with for his portfolio.
Yeah.
And I just found out that unbeknownst about that fact, Zach Arias used her in his class that he just filmed in New York for us.
Really?
Not realizing that you were using her.
That's crazy.
So they were in the middle of filming and they're like, she's like,
Stella.
oh, Kelby? Yeah, Scott.
Stella. Okay.
Okay, back to our story.
Back to your story. So I want to tell you a story about Brad and I'm not sure it was our worst shoot ever.
Might not have been worse because we got good pictures out of it.
We got pictures. We
But
did. We actually did good.
The
did okay.
experience was...
The experience was
brutal.
just brutal. All right. Should I show the pictures first or last?
Last.
I'll show the pictures.
Because
last. Okay.
you'll hear the story and you'll be like, how could you work in that environment? And then you can see we
All right.
pushed through.
So we're going to be in New York City. We're going to be doing my Light It, Shoot It, Retouch It tour. And I'm working on my Light It, Shoot It, Retouch It book.
Yes.
So Brad and I decide we're going to go a day early, and we're going to rent a really cool studio. We're going to hire a stylist. We're going to hire professional models. We're going to hire makeup. We're going to do it right, and we're going to do this really cool on-location shoot. We do find the coolest place I've ever shot.
Well, not cool, but it was an awesome place.
Yeah,
I'll say
awesome,
that.
the most awesome. Okay, it's called the Metropolitan Building. It's a multi-story building just across the bridge from New York. It's in Queens, right across the bridge in Queens. And it's multi-stories, and they have a floor that is used by photographers and movie studios and commercials and all. And I kid you not, it has like 1,200 pieces of furniture that you can arrange any way you want.
And
really
art.
Cool old stuff. They've got art. They've got a room full of just chairs, like 400 chairs.
An entire room, chairs.
Just entire room. Really cool stuff. And you just kind of build whatever. We'll put this here, we'll put this there, and you just build this thing. It's awesome. So we read about it online. We hear other people talk about it. We see samples, and we call them, and they book it for us. All right. So we're very excited. At the same time, now we've had to rent this, and we've got a stylist. We've got 3 models. We've got hair and makeup. And
So the pressure's on.
The pressure's on because one thing is we have to shoot for the book.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to shoot for my portfolio at the same time. So it's a lot of work. So here's where things came unhinged. We get there in the morning, and it's a beautiful morning in New York. And we start walking around, and we're looking, and we're like, wow, this is just incredible. The windows are open. There's a beautiful breeze coming through. We're just like, this is going to be the greatest shoot ever. And I'll just jump ahead real quickly to what happened. An hour and a half later, it was an absolute hot box.
There was no
the
air
breeze
conditioning.
went away. We did not do the research to find out that while the Metropolitan Building has floors that are air conditioned,
This one wasn't.
this one was not.
Which is why I said it wasn't a cool location.
It was not a cool. It was hot though on a level that was absolutely staggering. Like you couldn't breathe hot. Like literally, like I would take a shot of the model and the makeup artist was right there. And as I'm taking the shot, their makeup is running. They'd run in, try to fix the makeup. All right. Then Brad and I, we were over ambitious.
Yes.
We decided to do a shoot with 3 models on 2 different sets. So we were going to use the sets that we build at the Metropolitan.
Right. Which you'll see shortly.
Which you'll see in a minute. And then we decided to shoot, because we had New York fashion models, straight up fashion on a gray background.
On seamless paper.
On seamless paper. Because this place is so big, you could set up 10 sets, it didn't matter.
Now,
so
if I can jump in for just a
please
second.
do.
Part of the downfall of this was we were there for the seminar tour. So we're like, okay, we're going to have all this lighting gear because we're doing a lighting tour. But we didn't necessarily plan for the shoot just for the seminar. And we're like, oh, we've got all this gear, we'll just use that. So we didn't completely think things through. So we don't have as much gear as we actually need to pull it off to go back and forth between the 2 sets. And then we have a light that goes out on us.
Well, that was the thing is, we did have, and this is interesting, we had enough lighting as long as nothing broke.
Right.
What do you think happened as soon as we were set? What, was it broken when we opened the box?
I don't remember, honestly.
I think when we unplugged the first box, we looked at the light and it was broken. I'm pretty sure it was broken.
Probably.
So now we did not have enough lights.
That was the backup for the tour.
Right.
But that was just enough for the shoot.
And it was broken. Yeah. So now we're set up. We're sweating to death. And at the moment that Brad is already sweating, and
I sweat at the drop of a hat, but especially when it's like hot. Like even you're probably watching.
You really want to see Brad sweat? Have him pull out a light that's broken.
Yeah.
So now we're like,
in an air-conditioned building.
So what we had to do the rest of the day was to run back and forth, and every time we wanted to switch sets, we had to actually move lights from set A to the other side of the building to set B. It was a dumb idea. I should have bailed right then. But it got worse. One of the models showed up late, and
like almost an hour late.
Almost an hour late, and she was like, "Where's my breakfast? Where's my breakfast?" And we're like, so here's the thing. If we were shooting this for a client, if a client had hired us to do this, I would have had catering. I would have had a buffet. You know why? Somebody else is paying. You know who this was for? Me. You know how big a buffet we had? 0. Dumb mistake. My mistake. Me. So she wasn't real happy about it. She was like,
kind of snotty about it, really.
Yeah, kind of nasty about it, actually. So normally you'd look to your second assistant and say, hey, Mark, can you run down there? Or your third assistant, can you run down there and get some breakfast?
It was just me. No other assistants.
We never thought to hire a second or third assistant.
We could have used probably at least a second and third assistant.
At least 2. At least 2 more. You know, you could be thinking, Scott, don't you know people in New York you could have called?
Yeah.
Yeah, I sure do.
Guess what we didn't do?
We never called them. We're just so stupid. So
like halfway into the day, we were like,
I'm in my sports coat because I want to actually be seen on camera and stuff. I'm in my sports coat. I'm dressed. I am now walking the streets of Queens looking for breakfast.
Luckily, there was a deli like just around the corner.
Yeah, it wasn't. No, it was let's go couple blocks away, but it was close enough to where. But now I have to go and I have to wait for them to cook breakfast. So now Brad is by himself in the heat.
Trying to set stuff up, and
there's 2 other things that went crazy, right? So we're there, and we put too much on the hair and makeup.
Yeah.
Now, if we'd had another assistant, number one, the first thing I would have said was, get in your car and go to Walmart and buy 10 fans. Just go buy every $35 fan you can buy, because at the end of the day, there wasn't enough money. We'd have paid $1,000 a fan.
Yes.
If a fan truck had driven by, we'd have just said, here, take all our money. Just give us these fans. There was nobody to go get water. There was nobody to get a fan. There was nobody to get. Now, I will say this. We learned from our mistake.
Yes, we did.
Because now, I don't care if Brad and I decide we're going to shoot this bottle of water. We have 5 assistants. There's people everywhere just doing nails and stuff. And just in case, at some moment we go, we need water. People go, I got this. All right. So we also had to build an overhead rig for this book. So my book, Light It, Shoot It, Retouch It. One of the things about the book is, now what made it different was that we shot all the shots that are in the book. We actually rigged a camera up in the ceiling so you could really see. No diagrams in the book. In fact, I'll just kind of show you here. Let me give you a shoot, for example, and you can see. All right, so do we have a camera? What's this, a close-up camera? Over there? All right, so here's how this whole thing worked. So there is, you see the picture. I'm sorry, it's backwards. You see the picture, then you see like the contact sheet of what I shot. Then on the next page, you actually see the overhead shot mounted in the ceiling. You see what gear I used over here. It's all like a weatherman here. You see all the camera settings, all the power settings, everything. Then you see...
On the next page is the cold front coming in.
Then you see all the, like the front shot, side shot, back shot, left shot. So all 4 sides. And then I take you through the retouching from beginning to end. So that was the idea behind the book. So we had to go and do this makeshift. We went to a production studio in New York and we rented the biggest boom you've ever seen.
Actually, it's the same one we have in the studio. It's a mini boom.
That thing's huge.
Yeah.
You're making me look bad. Can you just act like it was a big
Huge! I've never seen
Thank
something
you.
so big in all my
Thank
life.
you. We put this big boom. Well, I guess I've never seen a giant boom with a little camera on it.
Yeah.
So we put this big, huge boom way up in the sky over there. And then we had the idea, we're going to be in New York. I had a phase 1 camera, a digital back, like $30,000 camera.
It's like an 80 megapixel camera.
80 megapixel. I'm going to be in this cool place with New York models, New York styling, New York hair. I'm going to take this.
With a camera
Now,
we've never used.
We used it. No, we used it in the studio, and it was great. But we got there, and we're using the software.
Oh, yeah, the Capture One.
Capture One software.
To tether.
To tether.
Because it doesn't work with Lightroom.
Right, it doesn't work with Lightroom, so we had to tether. We couldn't get it working. We just couldn't. Now, I guarantee you, anybody that had a week with phase 1 could go, oh, it's this.
Yeah.
But you know what? Assistant number 2, not there. Assistant number 3, not there. Nobody to work on this while Brad and I are sweating over everything else. Yeah. Basically, by the end of the day, I'm not joking you. I even pitched our crew on me doing a thing called Return to Metropolitan Building and go back and redo the whole thing and show everything that I would have done right. I wouldn't have taken that phase 1 camera. By the way, I did not get one single shot because that camera works amazingly well if you tether. If you walk around and handhold. Now, I'm sure the people that own one are great with it.
Because they have experience with it.
They
know it inside
I had
and out.
no experience. I'm like, I shot it here in the studio and I'm like, what? Click, click, you know.
And we even had a guy, like a rep from phase 1
Yeah,
here
we had this
helping us out.
rep helping us out. And it worked wonderfully well. It was great. And that software is really good. But it's like Lightroom. If you plug it in, you've never used Lightroom before and it doesn't tether, you're like, what do I do? So that went out the window. And that was the camera we were going to use to show the production shots or show the main shots, whichever one we liked better. So now our backup camera was gone. Brad and I sat in the car at the end of the day.
Normally after a shoot, especially in New York, we'll go out to dinner and everything, which we did. But like as soon as we got into the car and I sat down, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get up and get into the hotel.
It was miserable. Yeah. It was just absolutely miserable. So the couple of things that we learned, because here's the thing, we had to push through.
Yeah.
We'd spent so much money on renting all these things. And it was our money. It wasn't client money. Yeah. Client money's, yeah, this was our money. We're super freaked out. We had to get that shot. We had to make it work. We had to do all these other things. It really it couldn't have gone worse. We got some good shots, which was the only thing that kept us from absolutely committing suicide right there on the street. But we learned, the things that we learned are, number one is we did not do our research.
Yeah.
We should never have walked into a situation where we didn't realize that there wasn't air conditioning. And and we had no backup plan because we had nobody to go get us a backup light. Nobody, because we could have used any light. It didn't have to be an Elechrome BXRF. It could have been anything with light in the background.
Yeah.
The amount of retouching I had to do on the background, not on the subjects, but on the background, because we could only light it with one light, and we're doing full-length fashion. It was, I can't even tell you what a disaster it was. At the end of the day, it worked out. Yeah. But we made so many mistakes along the way. It was really planning, and it's not on Brad. Because I said, no, it'll be fine. Brad's like, should we get some assistance? Nah, we'll be good. You know, because I'm really worried about the budget. You know, I'm really worried about, God, we spent so much here and so much there.
Over-ambitious with what all shots we wanted to get.
Yeah, we did. It was and the two-set thing was just a disaster. But you know what it was? It was amazing how the weather just had everything come unglued.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at some of the shots I got here on my computer here. If we can flip over to my screen. So here's one of the shots that came from that shoot. And then I got to, there it is again, small. Here's another one. See all the cool stuff you can move around. You can put all these cases.
They had like all these vintage trunks.
All these vintage trunks, and you can put them in different places, and you can set up different scenes. Like we carry that picture in there, and we put all this stuff. There's nothing there. It's just empty room. You can just put whatever you want. And we're probably not the best at it. I told my wife, I said, if I go back to the Metropolitan building, she's got such a great sense for all this.
She's coming with us.
She's coming with us, because she would have walked in there and went, that goes here, this here. She can walk into a scene. Yeah. She's the best art director ever. She walks into a scene and goes, oh, this goes here, that goes there, you need to do this, have her look that way. And I'm just like, all I have to do is push the camera button, sign me up. She's so creative. So, and I told her, and I told her about even going back and doing that class, and you art direct it and fix it and all, because when you're embroiled and I can't get the light working and everyone's sweating and all, it's really hard to design a set. I mean, it really is. Yeah. So, I do want to show you, I'll show you a shot from the other set. Let me just grab it real quick here. I've got, where did I stick it? Hold on, I just had it here. Oh, here we go. So these are some of the shots we got from the other. This is from the Seamless, but man, did I have to work on that, on the background and stuff. It was quite the disaster. And we got these. It was really. Every time I look at them, it sends chills down my spine, because all I can think of is how bad everything went. But can I say something? This pales in comparison to the story that happened to Brad in Mexico. This makes the guy's wedding thing sound like no problem.
So let's take a break, and we'll come back to that.
Yeah, because you want to build up to this. Send out tweets. Brad in Mexico. This can't go well. We'll be right back. 60 seconds here on the grid. This can't go well.
I think essentially when you look at any car, no matter what age or model, you're looking for in a way, its face, its features. You've got to be sympathetic to the type of car it is. Each car has a personality. We know as people that when we look at other people, there's certain features in everyone's face that we recognise. We've done classes, and I've done work where we use lots of different lights and we build it up step by step. I do get feedback from people saying it's great, but I don't have access to 3 lights, but I do have a speed light. There's probably nothing I can do with that, and the answer is yes, there is. I think what I'd like people to achieve here is to show people what they can achieve with just that single flash. We have a classic 1956 Ford, and we've got the owner's garage, which is a working garage. You're going to learn to light a car in an environment with just using one flash. I'm Tim Wallace. Come and check out my class on lighting a car with just one speed light on kelbytraining.com.
Hey, we're back, Scott and Brad. Did you see that Tim Wallace, what that car looked like? He lit crazy. That car with one flash.
That's crazy.
And just moved around and then put it all together in Photoshop. I was the first time I saw that. I'm like, I said, Brad, did you see that? He's like, anyway, Brad.
I wasn't paying attention.
Brad
yes.
in Mexico. Brad, tell us the story of you on spring break.
No. So now some of you may already know this story. I did a guest blog back when I first started working for Scott and told the story on his blog. So if you read it, you know the story, but it's a tale of heartbreak and woe and other breaking stuff. So whenever I first started, before I worked with Scott, I worked with, where am I going? This way, there. Before I worked with Scott, I worked with Joe McNally, and I had like a 3-month trial period where he was just I was working with him, and he's trying me out, making sure I was going to be a good assistant before actually hiring me. Toward the end of this trial period, we took a trip to all around the country doing this, Oh, that one, sorry. Doing a shoot for
there's another camera
yeah,
there.
I didn't realize
Where did that come from?
Juan just made it appear magically because he's Magic
I like
One.
That, a little extra.
Anyway.
How many cameras you got, Juan?
Well, there's 4 now.
Ah.
Anyway, back to our story. We're going all around the country shooting for Sports Illustrated for this cover story. And somewhere along the way, I lost my passport. I'd gotten it just for this trip, and I'd never used it before, never been out of the country before. First time ever going out of the country, got a passport, and I lost it. So I figured this out like the day before that we're supposed to go into Mexico, and luckily they hadn't, for some reason there wasn't a law that you needed a passport to go into Mexico and Canada, just a driver's license. But that law had been passed and was going into effect in January, and this was like October before January. So luckily, I was still able to get into Mexico on my driver's license.
That won't happen today, bro.
No. So we get down there, and we're going to shoot the Baja 1000, and we're shooting. It's a commercial job for Micron, which is one of the sponsors of the race, and they're the ones that actually make Lexar cards. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yes, Lexar cards. So we're shooting the race for them, shooting portraits of the CEO and all this stuff. So we get there. They've got like this horsepower ranch rented out as their kind of party grounds and garage and all this stuff. So we're there covering all the events of that, and we sit down and have dinner, and we're sitting on like hard chairs, and so I take my wallet out of my back pocket and stick it in my jacket pocket. So we finish dinner, we keep shooting for a little while, and then we take the half-hour drive back down into Ensenada from the ranch to our hotel, and we get there, and I'm kind of checking my pockets, and I don't have my wallet. But I'd taken my jacket off in the truck, so I go back out into the truck and pick up my jacket and check the pockets, and no wallet. This wallet has my work visa, credit and debit cards, like driver's license that I got in the country on and now don't have to get back out of the country and all these things. So I think, okay, I know where I took it out of my pocket. It's probably still there. So I go back into the hotel and ask Joe for the truck keys, and he's like, why do you need the truck keys? And I said, well, because I don't have my wallet. And he's like, Brad, I can't get you back out of the country without your ID. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I think I know where I lost it. So let me just drive back up to the ranch and check. And he just has this look on his face that I don't even know how to describe, hands me the keys, and just doesn't even say anything. So I get in the truck. There's a guy that's riding around with us, so he's with me, trying to give me words of encouragement and ease my stress.
You won't wind up in a Mexican prison. No way.
Right.
Stuff
Things like that.
Yeah.
So we get back up to the ranch, and I drop him off. Let's do a little diagram here. If I drive in this way and the party grounds are here, you have to park over here. Well, right in between, there's a big tractor trailer, like a big Monster Energy drinks tractor trailer, because they're also one of the sponsors, that has a stage where people are like play music and talking and stuff. And so drop him off over here, then I drive over here, park the car, and as I'm walking back over, I think, oh, well, rather than walk around, I see a gap right here, kind of in between the trailer and the truck, that I can just kind of duck down and go under. So I do that, duck down, go underneath, and I think I'm clear, and I raise up too early and hit my head right on the corner of the tractor trailer, knock myself back on my butt, and I'm thinking, what just happened? I'm okay, right? And all of a sudden I see blood dripping down on my glasses. And I'm like, no, I did not just bust my head open in Mexico without any ID. I have health insurance, but I don't have any proof of it. Like, I'm freaking out. And so I crawl out from under the truck, and I'm like, this isn't happening. And there are plenty of things going through my head that I can't say on air. So I get out from under the truck, and this guy sees me. He comes up and he's like, dude, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. He's like, no, you need stitches. And I'm like, I do not need stitches. I'm not going to a Mexican hospital without any sort of, So he's like, no, you need stitches. So I'm like, oh, crap. So he goes, I sit down, he goes and gets the medic. And they come over, they're looking at me, asking me all the questions, everything, whatever. So there's just like blood gushing out of my head, and there's a crowd gathering because of course they see an ambulance and blood on the ground and all this stuff. So luckily the guys that we were working with at Micron were still there. So they came over, and I told them, hey, I think I lost my wallet over there somewhere. Can you go look for it, see if you can find it? And they can't. My wallet's gone. Still to this day, don't know what happened to it.
You've never found your wallet?
Never. Well, I bought a new one. You want to see my new wallet?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So they, my head actually doesn't hurt, and I still to this day don't have full feeling there for some reason. But apparently I jarred my neck pretty good, and that kind of hurt. So they put me in a neck brace, put me on a gurney and into an ambulance, and down a very bumpy road back into Ensenada to a hospital. Luckily.
When did Joe find out about all this?
So I'm kind of worried about the hospital because you hear things every so often about Mexico. It's just. Not to judge, but
yeah,
you hear
we're
things.
in trouble now,
So,
right? So thanks, Brad. Send your emails. Send your angry emails to skelby@photoshopuser.com. Amigos.
So luckily, we get to the hospital. They take me in and turn on the lights. It's a private hospital. I'm the only person there in the emergency room. Show up. The doctor shows up. He speaks perfect English, so there's no language barrier. Studied in Chicago and all this stuff. Do X-rays. Get me down on the gurney to do the stitches and everything. And as they're stitching me up, out of the corner of my eye, I see Joe walk in, and I'm thinking, there's no way that this guy is going to hire me after this fiasco of a trip. Earlier in the trip when we were traveling, I had some knives in my carry-on bag that got confiscated.
You went on a plane with knives?
I think that I went on more than one plane with 3 Swiss Army Leatherman knives in my bag, and finally they found it in Salt Lake City. Anyway,
they're tough on security in Salt Lake City.
So
how are their hospitals, Brad?
I don't know about Salt Lake
City.
City.
About them? Okay.
So anyway, I see Joe walking out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, there's no way this guy's going to keep me. So I just kind of say, if you want to put me on a plane back to Tennessee, I totally understand. And he just kind of walks over, and as he describes it, he had there's something about Mary moment, whenever the guy gets stuck in the zipper. And yeah. So he walks over and sees my head and how bad it is, and internally just goes, ah! But externally just says, you got a pretty good gash there, Brad. Yeah. So they stitched me up. Joe asked the doctor if I'm okay to work because we're there on a pretty big commercial job.
Showing his compassion.
Yes.
Showing his compassion. He says, is Brad okay?
The doctor says, yeah, he'll be fine. Throw a hat on him, make sure he takes his antibiotics and stuff. He'll be fine. So got back to the hotel, finally got to my room, took a shower. My poor mother, I sent my mother a text message. At this point, it's midnight in Mexico, so it's 3 a.m. at home.
Dude, that's the name of the story right there. Midnight in Mexico.
So I send my poor mother a text message thinking she'll get this when she wakes up in the morning. Hey, Mom, I have 9 stitches in my head and I lost my wallet. Can you call and cancel my debit card and all that stuff? I'm fine. I'll call in the morning. I immediately get a phone call from my mother who has been awakened by this text message, and it's the cell service. There's nothing I can say good about it in Mexico. It was terrible. I couldn't get a signal, so she called. I couldn't hear anything she was saying. Sorry, Mexico. Sorry. You were this bad to me. I got to be this bad to you. I couldn't hear anything she was saying, so I was like, Mom, I got to get some rest. I can't talk right now. I can't hear anything you're saying. I'll call in the morning. So hang up the phone and go out in the hallway and wait for Joe to come back. Joe had to go get my prescription filled at the pharmacy, so he comes walking back through the hallway with my pills and sees me slouched up, kind of slumped up against the wall on the ground, just kind of my head in my hands, He's like, later he told me, I don't think that I've ever seen any sadder sight in my life. I'm sure he has, but so he sits down and he's like, so, I'm not going to make you stay. You can, I'm more than happy to send you home if you want. But, if you want to stay, that's great. And I just said, after all of this, there is no way that I am deserting you now. I haven't gone through all of this for nothing, so there's no way you can make me go home even if you wanted to. So we stayed, did the shoot. Everything went fine from there. I don't think that I've ever driven any faster in my life on 2-lane highways in a Dodge SUV because we had to keep up with the race cars. So there were only certain intersections we could shoot them at. So we would go to one, set up, wait on them, shoot. And after they sped by, we'd get back in the truck, drive off to the next location as quickly as possible and shoot them again. So
how would this story have been different today, Brad, if you needed a passport?
Joe would have found a local assistant in Mexico and would have sent me home.
See. All right. So, Brad, it's a beautiful story.
So, and then apparently Joe figured that things couldn't get any worse than that, so he decided to keep me and worked for him for a couple years.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, Brad, there's really nothing to take from this, is there? I mean,
Make sure you check your bag that you don't have any knives in it before you get on a plane.
Yeah, I think most people already do that,
yeah.
Brad.
Can I tell you how much stress not so much these days, but for years after that, how much stress I had when I was standing in line for TSA to go through security
because of the
knife incident.
Oh, you thought that they were going to flag you?
No. I always panic thinking, did I check my bag? Did I make sure I didn't have anything in it?
Yeah.
Because it was
Can I tell you something? You know what they'll do if they find a knife in your bag?
They'll take it and
they'll take it and say, "Go on, Brad."
I know.
You're not allowed to bring knives on the plane. Now move along.
But after you get yelled at in front of everybody standing in line by your
nobody
boss,
wants to be yelled
it's
at.
not a happy experience. Anyway.
Hey, we're going to take a break because after that, I think we need one because I have a headache just hearing about it. My head hurts just from thinking about it. When we come back, we're going to tell you the sad story of the budget bride. Now, are people sending in stories? I read one, but
I can't talk and read.
Brad's
going to
look on this break and see if he can find.
Even if you've already shared a story, share it again.
Yeah, I'm monitoring like Twitter, Facebook, and G+. So any of those, I'm watching them.
All right,
We'll take a short break. We come back. Budget bride time. Things are getting bad.
Get the world's best photography, lighting, and Photoshop training at Photoshop World. Here's the top 10 reasons you should attend. It's 3 non-stop days of real-world training where you can get personal attention and unlimited access to the world's top instructors in Photoshop and photography. When you attend, you'll have chances to experience hands-on live shoots and workshops, outrageous after-hours parties and events, and hundreds of classes for all skill levels, along with dozens of opportunities to network with other attendees. In-depth, one-on-one portfolio reviews from industry professionals and see new cutting-edge technology. Plus, you can even earn continuing education and graduate-level credits from attending. This is the must-attend conference for photographers and Photoshop users. Register before August 2nd and save $100. Sign up today. Photoshop World, the world's best Photoshop and photography conference.
Hey everybody, we're back. Scott and Brad. RC is harping on Brad for the Mexico comments.
He says, "Let me guess. They dusted off the surgical equipment, doused it in tequila, and used old fish wire, right, Brad?"
Ooh.
Sorry.
Brad wants to say he's sorry. Brad, of course, does not speak for Kelby Media Group, or actually doesn't speak for anybody civilized anywhere. It's just Brad. And you know what? At the end of the day, when you're going, I'm so mad that he said that, just go, it's just Brad.
It's just Brad.
Sorry, Brad. He's okay. He's a good guy. He just drinks. All right. Budget bride. Well, man, I had this great idea for a shoot that actually went worse than the last one. So I wanted to come up with a series. You know, you shoot a series of different things. Like about a year ago, I shot this series of photographers that were musicians. Mm-hmm. And the idea was to get them with their instrument, like, you know, guitar, drums, whatever, and then let you see the whole lighting set around it. So you'd see the flash, you'd see the background, you'd see the stands, you'd see the cables, the wires, the whole 9 yards, because it was supposed to visually mix the two. Did them all in duotones. It came out okay. Wouldn't kill her. It came out all right. Had got some nice shots but I also got some cruddy shots. But not their fault, my fault. But Budget Bride was the first one, and the idea sounds really good because today all the focus is on everybody spending insane amounts of money on a wedding, right? I wanted to go the other way and create the romance of a wedding by showing really no budget weddings, like literally a bride and a groom, you know, sitting like at an old hotel, an inexpensive hotel, eating Chinese food with not a nice bottle of wine, but literally a 7-Eleven bottle of wine with a little label on it and all.
And like red Solo cups.
And Solo cups. I mean, they're like really, but just so you're really focused on the romance that like, okay, here's this poor couple. They're starting out. They have no money. They don't have
they're in love.
Rich parents, but they're in love and they don't care, right? And I had all these different things. Like I was going to hold a reception at an ice cream truck with the bride and the groom and the bridesmaids and everybody in a long line. And my wife helped me develop these. She had some really great ideas. And we were going to do this whole series, like 12 prints, 12 full productions of all, and there were some really clever ideas. And Joe McNally actually gave me a couple of the ideas. He says, hey, you know what would be a good one and all? But you're probably thinking, well, Scott, I never saw this series.
There's a reason.
There's a reason. And it was the very first shoot went so bad I killed the series. I have the one shot from it.
Are you going to be showing that shot for the first time ever today?
I think I buried it someplace. I might have put it on a blog post or something. But anyway, here's basically what happened. So we're having to hire fake bride and grooms for this, right? We're having to hire a model and a female model. Now, we had a wonderful bride, just wonderful, and we had a really nice groom. Now, the groom and the bride were both single, and so we get them together, and we're like, okay, now you have to be a bride and groom. And so I'm telling the groom, you're going to have to kind of pull her in because he's holding her like this. Like they're standing there together and he's got his arms around her waist. And literally she's like out like this. I'm like
very uncomfortable.
Yeah, like very uncomfortable, you know. And I'm like, dude, you have to, you know. And she was all like, hey, let's go. And he was like, I'm awkward. So anyway, he finally got into the groove and it worked out so well that after the shoot, they went to dinner. But he was like looking at me halfway through this way, holding his arms on. He's like, this is the best gig I've ever had. He was all over it, you know. So anyway, they actually made a very cute couple. So, but that's not the problem. So we go there and we rent a room in the hotel, and it is you know, an inexpensive beachside $35 a night hotel. And so, and we told the guys, we'll rent a room and it's okay if we shoot these shots. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. So they had this cute little pool and then a neon sign in the background. I was gonna shoot all this. Well, we go into the room, the bride and groom are getting dressed and all, not at the same time, of course, that would be naughty. We get them all dressed, but it takes quite a while to get all the equipment out of the car. And so Brad's SUV's there, we have all the equipment laid out and we're getting it set up. Well, by the time we get the bride and the groom in place, I kid you not, the worst thunderstorm, I mean, it was massive, rolls in. Right on, it's like I get a test shot, Brad moved the light a little, okay, turn down the power. We thought we'd be smart by using an Ellen Chrome Quadra Ranger, which is a very small power pack, very small.
It was brand new.
Brand new. We just got it.
First time we'd ever used it.
First time we ever used it, like $2,400,
yeah.
But a wonderful, I mean, like the perfect thing for it. It's small, it's lightweight, it's battery powered. So we're kind of working it, and I'm maybe 3 minutes into the shoot when we look up and it's like, oh, this looks really bad. And then all of a sudden, it lets loose like someone turned a switch. It just goes like this. It doesn't sprinkle first and kind of move, it just goes. I mean, it's just crazy. So we're literally, the bride and groom are running, we're running. It's all in slow motion, like grab the Quadra. You know, now we made a crucial mistake. Besides not having any other assistance, right?
Yeah.
We made a crucial mistake. We had taken all of this gear out of Brad's truck. Mm-hmm. And when we started this shoot, it was a pretty Florida day. But Florida is one of those places where a storm can move in and you don't even know it's coming, especially if you're worried about lighting. If you're worried about lighting, you're not worrying about lightning. So we're focused over here and all the, so we're literally running. I'm like trying to put that, we're trying to put stuff up there. So everything's getting wet. Everything. The bride's getting wet, the groom's getting wet, the clothes are getting wet, the gown's getting wet, the lighting equipment's getting wet, and then we realize that we had stacked all this stuff beside Brad's. And so Brad goes running out in, I mean, rain like cats and dogs, and he's trying to get it back. And I mean, we have cases, and it's all this stuff, and it's just a disaster. So we waited out. So in the meantime, I could see that I wasn't doing well with how, like, I had this idea how it was gonna work. And we even did a location scouting first and all, and we took sample shots like in the day, but I wanted to get their sign in the background and all this stuff, but there were power lines. It started to go downhill. Now, when a shoot goes downhill, call my wife, because she will show up and go, move them here, do this there. She would do that. I call her. She shows up, and I'm not kidding. It is raining so hard, she can't even consider getting out of the car. No. So I'm under this awning trying to protect. I mean, I'm literally trying to move stuff back so it's not getting, because the rain's coming in like,
it's coming in sideways,
basically. I'm trying to hide this stuff and keep it dry and all. And my wife's right there from here to the you can't see it, from here to the screen right over there to the thing, to the camera. We call it a camera. And I can't even get her out of the car. I'm like, honey, hi, we're like calling on cell phones and all, and my son's in the car with her, and he's like, you know, there's no way. I mean, you would never. And finally I just said, honey, just
bye.
This shoot's dead. So she drives off, and she feels bad because she really wanted to help. And by the way, from where she was to where the shoot was is like 45-minute drive. She still dropped everything and came. And so anyway, so now we're there. It kind of breaks. Now, We did a little natural light shoot with the bride and groom under this little porch because we had no place to go. We're all stuck on this porch because I'm telling you what, you could not run to the room or any place else. We take the quadrupack and we go, oh, look, there's this little, we find a cute little area. We think, wow, we're going to be able to save this shoot. We move to this and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, this is where we should have been the whole time. We shouldn't have been at the pool. We should have been right here. And we start setting everything up. I turn on the quadrupack, and I'm not kidding. Sparks come flying out of it. King, 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 king.
It wasn't good.
Then we tried. Then we said, okay. Brad goes, don't worry, I got backups. I've got a bunch of like SB 900s. Yeah. Remember that? We pull out SB 900s. The first one's batteries are completely dead. We bring out the next one. It starts to overheat. We looked at each other, and we looked at them, the bride and groom. We said, the shoot's over. We're soaked. Our equipment's soaked. Fire is shooting out of the battery pack. Anytime you're on a shoot and fire is actually shooting out of the battery pack,
not good.
It may be time to consider pulling the plug on the shoot. It's a $2,400 pack. Fire. Now, it may be even like, since it's sprinkling, even though you have it under there, it's probably maybe not a great idea to run power cords everywhere with fire shooting out of it.
Yeah.
We pack it. I have one shot from that shoot. It's not good. And so after all that, I looked at Brad and said, you know what? I'm not doing much. I'm out. I'm out. I got to find something else. Give me a second to find it here. I have it here, but where did I put it? Oh, it's in the folder here. Hang on. Budget bride coming up. All right, you can look on screen. So here's the shot, overlit. But you know why? Because I had like 2 seconds. It looks like I shined a car headlight on them. It's like I was so disappointed. But see the idea? We have little tea lights they bought at 7-Eleven. There's the wine. Now I actually had the little price. I blew it up too big. That's the right size. But I know people will be seeing this on a small screen. They're eating out of little boxes. They've got plastic cups. They've got a $7 bottle of wine. They're at this old motel. You can't really tell. You can't tell on your screen either, but you can see the old motel here. It was supposed to look great. It looks terrible. It's bad. This is the only shot from the shoot because I'm not telling you. I'm not Joe McNally. I can't do it in 3 frames. Joe could shoot it in 3 frames. People would be like, oh, and they black out. I need 300 frames. So I was like,
it was disastrous.
It was disastrous. Let's pause a moment for the death of the budget bride.
Should we pour some out for one's homies?
This one's for me. This one's for my homies. Okay. All right. We've got one more to go. We have one more. Now, what can we take away? What's the learning moment from the budget bride? Unfortunately, it's the same learning moment as the last one. Assistants. Now let me talk about second and third assistants. However much they cost. Now, of course, second and third assistants in New York cost a lot of money. Second and third assistants in other parts of the country, like Nebraska, probably don't cost as much. And they're not too much in Florida. But Brad and I, now, if we're doing anything, if we're doing a bridal shoot, if we're doing whatever it is, we have assistants everywhere. We have between 40 and 50 assistants. No, we have a couple of assistants usually on everything. And you know what? I don't care if you have 2, you could have always used 1 more.
There's always something to be done.
There's always something to be done. We've been at a bridal shoot where we got there and forgot the bouquet. We forgot the veil. We've forgotten all kinds. There's all kinds of reasons why someone actually has to leave the set, and then it's down to just 2. Or if you have 2 assistants, somebody leaves the set and you're down to 3, and you think, 3, you and 2 more assistants. So many things go on that, you'll never regret having the extra assistant. So really, it comes down to, but again, it's weather destroyed another shoot.
Yep.
Weather is about to destroy 1 more shoot and more when we come back. Don't go away. Here on The Grid.
Whether you love to read ebooks on your iPad, consider your Kindle your best friend, or addicted to your Nook, Peach Pit ebooks are for you. When you purchase your ebooks from Peach Pit, you get 3 formats. That means you can easily read them on any device of your choice. Or if you're in the mood to read on your computer, we supply you with the PDF. Head on over to Peach Pit today to get an ebook for 40% off.
Hey, we're back. Scott with Brad. Luckily, my last story is pretty short, but Brad got a message from Scott King.
Yes. Scott King, I'm going to read this real quick. He says, last fall, my niece was a senior in high school, and she asked me to do her senior portraits. I told her I was more than happy to do so and ask her what she wanted. She grew up on a chicken farm and is the kind of girl that doesn't mind getting dirty. So she had all these ideas about using a tractor and farm equipment and animals and all this stuff. We settled on shooting inside of a chicken coop because the chickens had just been picked up a few days earlier and it was empty. On the day of the shoot, I met her at the coop and we opened the doors. It was filled with baby chickens. My niece hadn't realized that they had been dropped off already, so it was a massive prison break. There were thousands of baby chicks and a good 50 to 100 made a run for it before we could shut the main door. It took us over an hour to catch all the ones that had gotten loose and it was gross. Baby chicks look fuzzy and cute, but what you don't realize is that they pee all the time. The worst bit, when I got home, I found a baby chick in my camera bag, and it had proceeded to poop over everything.
Man.
Sorry, Scott.
Scott, that's dude. I got a lot of stories, but none of them have a baby chick pooping on my camera gear. I got to tell you, that should be, somebody tweet that. It should be hashtag baby chick pooped on my camera gear.
All right, what's our last story?
All right,
today,
last story.
Scott?
First off, there were some problems with the streaming of the live show. Carolyn Pham, who was a wonderful person and a wonderful photographer, said she watched the show and then the feed started freezing on her laptop as well as her Nexus 7. So she'll catch it on YouTube when it's uploaded. We do broadcast these the next day. So if you ran into any problems, you won't even know this because you'll have ran into problems. Right? You won't be hearing me now because you can't watch it. So anyway, hey, also somebody asked if the bride sued me in that last scenario. And they probably missed the part where we said we hired a bride and groom, fake bride and groom. They generally don't sue. They just want to get paid.
They're getting paid anyway.
Yeah, they're getting paid. If it rains, they get paid. Here's the thing. If the shoot goes up in flames, everybody gets paid. Stylists get paid. Hair gets paid.
You just don't get your pictures.
You just don't get your pictures. All right. So this last one was, it actually went really, really well, and we got a good picture out of it too, all the way through. But we were shooting a U.S. Army helicopter rescue team. So these are Apache helicopters, and Brad got me a hookup to shoot them, and great people. Really, it was really everybody at the base was just tremendous, really nice people, and it was a really fun shoot. Now, I have to take my hats off to them. Number one, anybody that serves in our military, God bless you. I think that's fantastic. But to be a rescue person, it's even that much tougher. And then what we realized was once we're talking to them is, so we're out on the tarmac in Florida in like June. And it's hot to death for us. And they are in their full like flight suit. And I'm talking to the lieutenant, and I think, I'm like, dude, you're gonna die out here. And he says, well, it's okay. And he was so patient and would let us shoot as long as we want out in the sun. And he was like, inside the helicopter, it gets to 120 degrees.
They don't have air conditioning.
They don't have air conditioning in those things, and it gets to 120. And I'm like, man. Anyway, so everything's going great. We're shooting, and I'm trying to do now, at the end of the day, a group shot with about 12 or 14 pilots out on the flight line. We're gonna do a group shot for this one particular group. And I'm arranging them and stuff, and we're getting there. And we're using one light just to light the whole copter. And if any of you have been on my tour, you know how we darken the ambient light, and we light it with that. Okay, I'm gonna show you a picture 1 second. Hang on, I gotta get it open. But I'll show you a behind the scenes shot first of Brado and I. Well, I don't know if you actually see Brado. I think Brado took the shot. Okay, so here's the behind the scenes shot. So we're out there, and it's about to really, really let loose. I'm down on one knee praying that the shoot works. We're using one 53-inch Elechrome midi-octa. So we're out there, and I'm posing. You can see I'm posing people in groups and stuff. And they get a call. A call comes in from the base commander, and he says something to them, and they come running over like, dude, we have to get off this thing right now. There's a massive thunderstorm moving in right this second. And we're like, okay, we'll just get this one last shot. Click, and we get it, and then we go. Now, can we look back at my screen one more time? I just want to point out that, so a huge thunderstorm is happening, and we are outdoors with a steel pole on wheels. We're in the middle of a flight line, way away from the hangar, with a steel pole on wheels.
We're geniuses.
We're geniuses. So I turn off my camera, and we start walking briskly, mind you, briskly to the hangar. And we hear lightning off in the distance. We see lightning, and then all of a sudden, the lightning actually triggers the flash, and the flash fires.
Because it sees it as a flash, and the slave eye was on.
The slave eye was on. It thought it was another flash. Lightning is now triggering. Right. If you are on a shoot and lightning is triggering, there better be a bride eating Chinese food. No,
run.
It's run. So now we're like, now we're zooming towards there. And I kid you not, let's just say that there's this little line here that is where the doors of the hangar are open, and you have to cross this line to get safely in there. A wall of water is moving towards us, and Brad and I are.
Your son was with us. I saw the picture, and I'm like, man, he is so little compared to now.
Yeah, he's huge now. He's like buff. Okay, so here's the thing. We are running full out, just craziness to get there. Now you got to imagine that Brad and I, we're probably not the fastest guys.
Especially compared to these guys that are all
these guys are like, Army fit
know.
there, and we're out there by ourselves with the rolling steel pole.
Fun times.
We cross that line, and a wall of water comes pouring in. So much so that we couldn't even get our gear inside before we're soaked, the gear's soaked. Now, we were shooting portraits inside, right?
Yes.
So we'd had my laptop tethered on a table like we always do.
The tethered rig.
The tethered rig all set up. My laptop strapped down. Brad, thinking, oh my God, his laptop is going to get ruined if the laptop gets wrecked. He grabs the rig and starts to run further into the hangar. Because, I mean, it's one that rain is coming into the hangar. Brad's running in slow motion. As Brad's running, carrying my thing, my laptop slides right off the tethering. We did not have the stuff that we have now from Tether Tools.
Right.
This was pre-Tether Tools. We have Tether Tool stuff now. You know what it is? Fine. It's amazing how life's experiences are. You only have to have a laptop fall off once before you go find a company that builds things to make sure that it doesn't actually fall off.
Thank you, Tether Tools.
Tether Tools. So we're running, it falls off, it hits the ground, it breaks the hard drive. Hard drive's dead. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Now, I had a memory card, what you call it?
Hard drive?
Not a hard drive. It was a memory card reader.
An SD card.
SD card reader attached, or whatever card reader, attached to this. So we realized that the day is done, the shoot's done, and now my computer is dead. So, and no fault of Brad's. Brad was trying to do the right thing. He was like, oh my God, let's save the gear. And there was a lot of gear. We're pulling it all in because, we never expect rain. Like, we live in Florida, and we just think, it's not going to rain late right here.
Sunny Florida, right?
Sunny Florida. It's always sunny. Anyway, so we load this all in, and we leave. And we got some good shots. Can we show my computer? Here's the shot. So we got some good shots. I was happy. All right. So, and it's darker because we lowered the ambient light by 2 stops. If you're on my tour, we talk all about that kind of stuff. We actually do it and show it and all that. Anyway, back to me. Back here. I get back to the office an hour away. We just packed everything up and threw it together. I go to the memory card reader to get the compact flash card out from the whole shoot. We had these great shots. There's no card.
Guess who's driving back to Clearwater?
The card shot out when it fell. The card shot out and is somewhere in the hangar at the Army base.
Now, luckily, the lieutenant was actually a friend of mine, so I just called him up and was like, hey, can you go back out in the hangar and see if there's a memory card laying on the floor somewhere? So he was able to
son
find
of a
it.
gun, he was able to go find around the broken pieces of my laptop. There was the memory card,
Yeah.
and we got it. How lucky were we to get that memory card back?
And
that
it wasn't
memory
wet.
card,
It wasn't,
and
like,
it wasn't
soaked
wet
with rain.
Yeah, and it could have slid under anything. I mean, if you go to an airplane hangar and where we were, where all our gear was, there's all kinds of boxes and
like,
wires and cables. It could have
We're
been
set up like in between other helicopters.
anywhere.
And stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Good times. All right. You know what we could have used that day?
another assistant,
Another assistant. We had two
wet-
assistants.
a weatherman,
We could have used a weatherman. We had two assistants.
tether tools.
But you know what? It's like, so Brad and I, we've been doing a bunch of shoots for a book that I'm working on. We've been doing a bunch of shoots. We shot all day yesterday. We shot
All day today, up until
great.
30 minutes before this.
Yeah, up till 30 minutes before this. And what happens is sometimes things just go wonky. And yesterday, I was trying to light the simplest thing, and I got really, really frustrated. And sometimes what happens is you're in the heat of it.
Mm-hmm.
You're got a time limit. You got to do these things, and sometimes you need to just stop,
Take a breath.
step back, take a breath, and that's what. And yesterday, so what happens is, so Brad is a very accomplished photographer. He runs our studio. He knows all this stuff all the time. You know, I've taken a shot before. The two of us could not figure out this lighting problem yesterday. We just could not, and it was. I'm not even gonna tell you the story because it's embarrassing. Because I come home from work last night, and I'm talking to my wife about the day, and I'm talking, and she says, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "What?" She goes, "What's wrong?" So I can tell I had lunch with you today. Something's completely wrong, and I'm like, I had the worst shoot ever today. It was just terrible, and this happened and that happened, and blah, blah, blah. And my wife says to me, "Well, why don't you do this and then do that?" And I went like this. As soon as she said it, I was like, I came in and told Brad, here's how we're going to do it today. It took us an hour and a half to get the first shot yesterday. Do you know how long it took us today?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. The whole shoot was over in a quarter of the time.
Yeah.
We were just like this, bang, bang, bang. And sometimes when you're in the heat of the moment, it's so hard to make smart decisions. You're worried about time, you're worried about budget, but you know what? Sometimes you need to shut the laptop, and just walk away, go into another room, and just, is this?
It's like back in high school or college when you're doing homework and you're trying to figure out this math problem or whatever. And if you just take a break and then you come back to it, you can just kind of see the solution right away.
Yeah.
Did you ever have that experience?
Yes.
So
Many times. But yeah, you're right. Sometimes walking away from it all, you see it in a fresh set of eyes. But that's what we. Oh, sorry. But that's what we really needed to do. Sorry, Juan. But that's what we really needed to do, is we needed to stop yesterday and just go, oh my gosh, this is the simplest thing, and we're overthinking it to death. And that's exactly what it was. And today it went wonderfully well. But my wife's fresh set of eyes, she was just like, oh, do this and do that, which I hate that about her, because I told her, I said, you should be on every shoot I ever do, because she can just go bang, 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 and it's like, but it is having, she's not worried about the budget.
Right.
She's not worried about the time limit. And she can just focus on the creativity and, all that stuff. And honestly, it's so easy to get worried about f-stop and ISO and the power rating of the flash, and are you using the right softbox, and is this the right size? Is it positioned right? Is it too high? Is it too low? That all of a sudden you forget the most basic things. And so it is great to have another eye on the set for someone to just go, why don't you do this? And you go, anyway, hey, thanks for the. I was hoping we would have more people share stories so Brad and I wouldn't feel so bad.
It was hard to keep up with what was going on over here.
Yeah, it's hard. So normally Brad is over here and Pete's here. We have multiple people monitoring. Pete is in.
Nobody's gone. Nobody's here.
Where's Pete? Someplace.
Well, he and RC just did
Atlantic City. They're in
thing.
Atlantic City gambling. Matt's in Norway. It's just me and Brad. We've been working all day.
He gets lonely.
But hey, I want to thank our sponsors. I want to thank B&H Photo. They are the people. This is big.
June 17th.
June 17th. Myself, Katrine Eisman, and Katrine and Julianne Cost are doing a Lightroom Digital Photography Summit, and it's free in New York City at the Jacob Javits Convention Center. We're going to be doing some shooting. We're going to be doing some lighting. We're going to be doing some Lightroom. We're going to be doing a lot of Lightroom.
If you just Google B&H Lightroom Summit, you'll find the registration page.
B&H Lightroom Summit, you'll find the registration page, and it's completely free. Come and join us. the 17th of June. Brad's there. I'm there. How many assistants we having, Brad?
At least one, besides myself. Probably 2 or 3. I don't know,
We'll have a bunch of them. Come
17.
see our assistants. Come be one of our assistants. We need assistants. But anyway, we're only doing a short, the shoot's kind of short, but it's kind of complicated. So we do have we have stylist, the hair, the makeup, the lighting guys.
Catering?
We don't have catering. We probably should have catering. We better have catering.
Shake Shack.
Ooh, Shake Shack. Shake Shack. Shake Shack.
All right, we got to wrap this up.
We got to wrap this up. Hey, thanks. But anyway, it's sponsored by B&H Photo, the wonderful people at B&H. So go to their website, sign up for this event, June 17th, New York City. It's you. It's me. It's party time. Come and see how many actual assistants we roll with. I may put people up there that aren't even assistants. Just ask people from the audience, can you come up here and just move stuff like you're doing something? Just like go over and act like you're tightening a screw on a bulb and all that kind of stuff. There it is. Ooh, it's on screen. There it is. B&H.
It's at the Javits Center. It's not at B&H.
It's not at B&H. It's at the
don't go to
Javits Center.
B&H.
Hey, but at the end, if you want, they have a bus that'll take you over to B&H. So
Yeah.
all right.
And you should do it.
So it's Julie Ann Cost, evangelist from Adobe, Katrine Eisman, author, trainer, wonderful person, really, really good at everything, and me, and Brad, and us. Feel the love. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks for everybody that tweeted out the show. You can follow me at Scott Kelby at Twitter, or S. Kelby at Facebook, or Scott Kelby or Scott G+ at Google+. Brad, where can they find you?
I don't really do the Facebook thing, but Twitter, I'm Be More Visuals. Google+, you can do bradgplus.com. And check out my guest blog on 500px.com today.
That's right. He's the guest blogger on 500px. Juan wants to say something. Juan? How do they win the prizes? Oh, I'm glad someone's paying attention.
Go to 500px. No, just kidding. Go to kelbytv.com.
Go to kelbytv.com/contest.
Choose the grid.
Choose the grid from that pop-up menu.
Enter your information.
Put your name, your email address.
Let us know what prize you want.
Your website. Write comments. Comments should be nice. And then, hit the send button, and you're entered. And we pick winners for all the stuff, for the book, for the stuff. Hey, can I just finish by showing this? So this is in the book here. This is the Lighted Shoot Retoucher book. This is actually one of the shoots that we did that day. So there, I'm trying to keep it from being shiny. So there's the shot that we did. There's a camera mounted way up there. Over here is the contact sheet of all the, and I kind of put a red thing around it. I went with this one, but there's all the rest.
Like the grease pencil thing?
Like a grease pencil thing, yes, thank you. There's the overhead shot, which because is different than the other overhead shots because we had to use a wide angle camera.
You had fun making that shot, didn't you?
That was tough. And then you can see there's the pictures and all the settings. Where I'm looking at the wrong camera. There we go. Lighting, settings, all the different views of us. Was I laying on the floor or something? Anyway,
probably, I think you were.
Probably. And then the retouching and all the other stuff in Photoshop. Okay. Someone was going to win this today.
So, yeah.
Brad, I just want to say your Mexico story made me look good.
Sorry, Mexico.
Sorry, Mexico. Brad says sorry, Mexico. Pound, sorry, Mexico. All right. Hashtag.
Bye.
Hashtag bye. See you next week, everybody. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Hope your shoots go better
than ours.
Cheers.
This week's episode of The Grid is sponsored by Impix. Shoot today, upload tonight, we ship tomorrow. On One Software, focused on photography. Peach Pit Press, publishers of technology books, ebooks, and videos for creative people. Epson, exceed your vision. Expo Imaging, rogue flash benders for speedlight enthusiasts. Intel, the power you need for hardcore creatives. Squarespace, everything you need to create an exceptional photography website. And B&H Photo, the professional source.